Hello. Okay. Hi. Hi, Vanessa. This is so funny because I just totally forget what this is like. I don't even know how to make this my full screen, but I guess I'll wait like maybe. Thank you so much. I'm gonna wait like a minute, not that long, because 3 p.m. is the start. So we can just, oh, this is so funny. I can't believe I can't find the symbolist thing. I just like to not see anything else on my screen, but so I'm doing well, thank you. I hope you're good too. Let's see, where should I even start? I'm thinking, I'll just like update a little bit about what's been going on personally and maybe where I've taken a little bit of a break from doing public readings or anything like that. I have been doing private readings, not even so much. Oh, so good to see you. Hi. This is so great. So haven't been doing public readings this year so much. What is that about? A couple of things. One is, as some of you know, I became a new mother in December. But as most of you probably don't know, I'm also pregnant again. So that happened in July of this year. So we have another baby coming on the way. So much like you probably noticed the year before also, if you've been following along, because I feel like we have a lot of the same people. Thank you, yay, another baby. We're really excited, it's great. It's really great news. They are so close, going to be so close in age. And much like the year before in 2019, when I was pregnant, I took time, private time, away from doing anything public readings or anything like that. And that pregnancy, all of my abilities, my intuition, my psychic and mediumship abilities were really directed around the baby and his incarnation, him coming to Earth. And it was a wonderful experience, which I haven't totally shared. And I wonder, why haven't I shared so much about that? Of course, I got pregnant again really soon after he was born and realized this pregnancy is totally different. And each pregnancy, just like each person, is so unique and so beautiful. And with this pregnancy, although I totally did a similar thing, was taking the time to just be with my family and not do so much public reading or public, even making too much art or anything outside, connecting. This pregnancy, I've been receiving quite a bit of psychic information, quite a bit of growth in mediumship. And so it's not just about the baby that I've been channeling information for, but a broader, I'm able to just realize that my own abilities are still developing all the time. But with this pregnancy, they've developed so that I can be a little bit more sharing a little bit more, even though I'm still in the middle, right in the middle of it, right? So that's kind of what my news was about why I haven't been doing readings probably for the last 2 years. So publicly, there was a time, I don't even remember when I was doing these like once a week or something. But welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming. And I feel like we can get started right now we'll move into a little bit of what is, let's see what's coming up here first, because I think before I even get involved with your loved ones who are coming through, I would have to say I need to set the tone of the reading here. So everyone just take a deep breath. In and out. And everyone just take a moment to feel centered, put your intention out there, what you want to get from the reading here. So there's a lot of frantic energy around my thoughts and everything like that. So I'm just clearing the space out here. Okay. So what is happening now, and the way that this works is I am going to be working with channeling information, just a little bit of information to start, a little bit of inspired speaking to start, and then I'm moving into your loved ones in spirit who are coming here to connect with you. And I will give evidence to who I'm talking to. I'll talk to one person in spirit at a time. I'll give as much evidence that I can about who they are, what they are like. I might get personality, the way that they passed, maybe when they passed, the relationship they have to you. And then I would ask the group, does this sound like anyone that you know who's in spirit, okay? And that could be anyone in your family, any friend that you know in spirit, okay, neighbors. Even acquaintances will come through. Sometimes you don't realize how important connections were in your life, and they might just come through too because of the you're being open to this thing, and maybe they're trying to get through to their own family who they have not been able to reach or something like that. So I'm always surprised by the people who do come through for me personally, and it's always a treat. Okay. So the first thing I am picking up here is that I just want to setting the tone for the whole reading. And I know that we have a lot of aspiring people in the group here. There's something about spirit coming through, talking about, people here who are making a name for ourselves. And that's so interesting because I don't know why that phrase comes through, but I feel like that may resonate with you because it's something like I really am hoping the new year gives me a chance to step into who I really truly aspire to be like and what is my name for myself and what is my legacy. And I just want to say there'll be some really amazing surprises coming for all of us. That you really are not quite aware of yet. You're not totally seeing how yet. So I just want to say that as I move in here, I do feel quite a bit of connection to spirit world. And I just want to say that I'm coming with such love and just comfort, renewal. And so I know that the reading for everyone here is like getting a big hug from spirit and just taking a break and a rest before the transition into a new year is happening. It's a very symbolic time moving into a new year. It's only it's a very earthly physical experience that we all have here. And spirit that I'm feeling is just basically saying this year is so important to mark this new transference. Okay, so we're just moving on. We're we're really needing to mark the end of this year and the beginning of the new year. Spiritually, we all need that. Emotionally, physically, we need a new energy coming through more than maybe New Year's past. So, and I also feel like I'm going to move into spirit world right now. So I do feel that I have a woman coming through. She is making me feel like she is grandmother to me. When I say me, I do feel, I mean you, someone here in the group. She's extremely maternal. So I know she continued to be maternal through her life here. I know that she would have had a shortness of breath towards the end of life, and she would have had trouble breathing, is how she's making me feel like. So I know that with her, there were quite a few things going on with her physically of why she passes. But when she goes, it feels like the end of a long fight for her. She also is coming through as a pretty prayerful person, a pretty religious person. I always feel like she's giving me that Catholic background, and also is she making me feel Italian as well. So culturally, this is somebody who, and she also is making me aware of her jewelry, because, and this is a funny person too, because she is complimenting my jewelry, because I feel like there's a special ring that I'm wearing that she's pointing at, because there's a wedding band that is a thick wedding band, gold jewelry with her. So so somebody is picking up with Evelyn and Alyssa. Okay. So let me just see if I have two grandmothers coming through. So Evelyn, I'm going to work with you for 1 minute here, and let me just tell you that I feel a very strong connection. This would have been someone who, yes, I did share quite a few Christmases with, all of these memories. I just feel her, she's so in your home. I want to say something also with her, because she is giving me pressure in the head with her also. Do you understand that? Just for you, Evelyn? And I just want to make sure I'm with you with that. She makes me aware of having kind of this headache where, what is it? I want to say she experienced some confusion, okay? Evelyn, are you hearing this? Do you understand this? You just say yes or no, or I don't know. Okay. So I feel that so you do get that with her. And I feel that she's coming through because she is saying, you've been praying for me. You've been talking to me. You've been praying. I don't know if you're actually clasping your hands doing it, because you're talking, you're thinking of her quite often. And I feel that she's coming through with a message to say, I'm hearing what you're saying, because, it's very interesting little things where I feel like you're baking something and you're like, how do I do this? And it's almost like you're not even aware that you're communicating with her back and forth. So the little things that you do around the house, she's like over your shoulder. Okay, you understand that? And so when you're baking, she was a baker. So when you're baking and when you're doing these things, and I feel such a presence around this time of year, and she just feels such a connection to you through your baking, through the things that you just do around the house. She just feels very present there. I'm literally saying physically, because she's showing me her over your shoulder. She does make me laugh, and she doesn't mind butting in to tell you exactly how to do the things you're doing. She had a very specific way. She never looked at she never, she just didn't have any questions about her abilities to do the baking, the things around the home. She had such confidence in it, and she gives you some of that confidence, because I feel like you're always asking her questions about what you're up to. And I know it's bigger than that. It's not that you're just asking her questions, but you're asking for help from above, you know, and she is like your connection to the spirit world. She's your connection to God, that kind of thing at this time, as like an angel over you. So you are experiencing and asking through her, and she's saying, I'm here receiving your questions. And I know that it's a lot about you receiving information on where am I turning here? You know, I'm just feeling into a little bit psychically, because she is kind of saying, like, give her the message here. What is this here? I know that I'm asking a lot about survival. I just want to see what specifically I'm getting here. Okay. So it's like the big thing is like, do you understand? I just don't know what I'm going to do. And that just feels like across the board right now, because I feel like my slate has been wiped clean. Let's see here. There's a lot of empty space, okay, where I'm not sure how things are going to fill in for me. I'm not getting super specific information for you right now. That's just the way that it is about your path moving forward. But I know that you have grieved. You know, it's about moving through my grief and receiving light. I just want you to know you're just being held by spirit, by grandma in spirit. And I am going to send her your love to her with the message that you directly are communicating with her. So I just get a very strong affirmation from her that she is directly communicating to you. So continue the conversation with her on your own there, because you are having quite a bit of back and forth with spirit world yourself, okay? Thank you so much. And I'm just feeling, if I can differentiate, because I do feel that, you know, I do feel that there could be someone else stepping through here that may be Alyssa's grandmother, just to give Alyssa a message. Because what happens is, when there's two very similar people in spirit, they will come together. They'll bring the two people in earth plane together as well to get the reading together. Okay, let's see. There is something about lights that I'm getting about your grandmother, and it's almost like, am I stringing lights? Am I doing lights in my house? Let me just see. I want to stay with her. Would you, Alyssa, do you understand redoing your home right now? Like, I'm remodeling, because it's not just decorating. But I see that I'm redoing spaces in my house right now, and I just want to tell you that she is watching you. I mean, she's like, you have to like get this through, that I know what's going on in her life. Okay, you do understand that, because I feel like I'm in the process here. Again, this is a very similar person in spirit who really likes to be over your shoulder, really likes to be helpful about things in the home. And so she's just wanting to say that hasn't changed at all, because she is seeing what you're doing here. And I feel like you're creating a space for your children, and you're creating a space of comfort. And it's full of light. Just see here. I just have to say that there's a lot of white in the house, and bright light in the house that she had. You understand? she had like wallpaper, or she had very intricate design on everything, which was beautiful. But you have this very open, white, clear light space that you're creating, and so it's different than her, and she's loving what you're doing. There's just a sense of pride with you, because I feel like that you've gone through quite a bit of a transition since she's passed on, and she's wanting you to know that she sees you becoming a mother, and she sees you flying. So I just want to say too, when she says flying, that she is making me aware that there will be travel again in your life. And I feel like there was some kind of big vacation that had to be canceled this year. It's almost like as in big as a honeymoon, or like my sister's wedding, or something very big that had to be canceled. I don't know if you understand that, but she's like, don't worry, this is happening. You will travel again. I feel like she's telling the group that, okay? I don't know if you understand any of that, Alyssa, but I do know she is sending quite a bit of love, and she's very involved there in your home. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'm just going to feel a little bit more into spirit here. I do feel that there is a man coming through in spirit also. 35 weeks pregnant. Oh my gosh, congratulations. Yes. Okay, so you are setting up for the baby, and she's with you. That's beautiful. Okay. Okay. I do feel that I have one more person in spirit coming. It's funny because it's like very interesting. These are people in spirit who would have been very important at Christmas time. They keep making me aware of Christmas, and like this being their time between Christmas and New Year, where you guys really would have spent a lot of time together. So I'm having a man come through now. And again, I do have a similar sensation with him, where he's bringing me more to my throat area. I do feel that there would have been like some kind of feeding tube that I had to, have in my throat with him before his passing. It was like he's making me feel like it's hard to swallow, or even if he did get it out, he would have had trouble swallowing later after he did get it out. It's hard to tell if that happened, but he needed that because there was some kind of major surgery that he had gone through. And he spent quite a bit of time in the hospital with this man. This would have been very difficult for everyone in the family, because he was like somebody who really liked to be outdoors and did a lot of yard work and was very active. Let me just see here. He also is kind of a man of few words too. So it's like, he doesn't really like talk too much about himself or anything like that. So I'm just, I'm just getting closer to him for a second here. This would be really outside of his realm of what he would have done in life. He would have never sat for a medium in life or anything like that. And maybe he hasn't necessarily ever come through before. And he is making me aware of how strong his hands are, right? Because he is a really good worker, and he would have done anything in a house. He could have fixed anything. He could have, he's making me aware of like chopping wood, doing yard work. Okay, so like this was just something very important to him. Okay. To me, he feels like dad. Do you understand this, Christine? Is this father to you? Do you understand a man like this in spirit being father? Because he is coming through very much like that. I also am getting husband. Okay. Okay. I'm getting this sense from him that, let's see here, where is this? I don't know why also he's showing me a little bit more about like what, with his yard work and with his illness, that like this really affected his ability to do things, and this was like frustrating, even like with his hands. So it was like his hands were so great, and so he was so good at doing everything, and then his hands kind of, he wasn't able to use them. There was like pain in his bones with him also. And so whatever he was dealing with, it really, this was very frustrating for him personally, and it was very hard to accept in his heart. It made him very sad, obviously, because he was just saying that he had this hardest time to leave you and the family. Let me just get through here. It was also even hard for him to articulate. So do you understand? Oh, okay. Okay, Christine, so I don't know if I'm with you. Does anyone understand someone like this in spirit who may have been with an illness that he would have had some kind of throat issue where he would have been in the hospital on a feeding tube or some problem swallowing because of his illness, and wouldn't have been able to use, his hands and do the work that he wanted to do and usually did. Would have been quite frustrating, and he wouldn't have been able to articulate. Okay, Christine, let me just feel into this, because there's something very big here about him. If I am getting this a little bit off, and I hate to just try to make it work, but if he is, okay. I feel that there's this, do you understand this message of him not being able to do what he wanted to do, or he was very frustrated with that, because it's, with me, I'm feeling like I'm good at certain things, but I'm not able to do those things. Okay. I'm just feeling he wouldn't have been able to express much when he was going through his illness. Although it's, I feel that I am confused with him, and it was a very difficult time, okay? Let me just make sure I'm with you, Christine, okay? Because he is, like I said, he's kind of a man of few words. He doesn't want to talk so much about himself. I know he comes with love. I know that he comes as, wanting to talk, but also expressing how he wasn't able to express it himself. And even in spirit, this is part of his way of expressing who he was and the relationship a little bit, especially there around the end of the life. And let me just see what he can say here to make sure that it's 100% with you. I want to say that if this is your husband in spirit, that he's making me aware of his coming to you in dreams. He's making me aware of being incredibly generous. Let me just see what he's trying to show me here. Because he's bringing me roses, red roses for you. I just feel like this was his way of expressing, is like, he loves the outdoors, and so the flowers for him is his way of expressing his love. I just feel like I have confusion with him. I keep getting that with him, and I'm just, let me just feel. and an instability. He wasn't able to always be that one who was so giving, and you knew his heart, but he was not embodying himself here. Do you understand that? He wasn't able to always act from his heart. Do you understand that, Christine? Because he was, again, confused and frustrated. I just want to say that he did not know in his life how important his connections were. He didn't know how important he was to his family. He didn't know how much he was loved until he passes, okay? So there he realized, like, this is where I woke up in spirit. I woke up in spirit and I saw the love around me. And so he's given me, and I feel like he's making me aware that you may be crying even right now. And he's making me aware that he's holding you. He's holding a lot of people who are grieving. Okay, he took his life. And it feels very much like this would have been a suicide for him. And as I feel into a little bit about that passing, and maybe why he is standing off a little bit, and how he's expressing himself as being, and when I say standing off, it's because when spirit stands off a little bit, and there's a little bit of, we have to get closer and warmer together to get messages through, it is because many times they're coming with sorrow, an apology, and I do feel that he is saying that he's sorry that he didn't see that he was loved the way that he truly is. He knows that this has been such a loss for you, and he just is holding you in spirit. Let me just make sure he's, there's something funny because I know that he does want to remember some of the good, because we definitely had a lot of fun together is what he's making me feel like. And I just want to say, like, I don't know if it's you or him. It feels like it's him who's like the backseat driver. So he's just like hugging you, teasing you about your driving. I don't know if it's your driving being, but he is reminding you of these memories of, he's just bringing up you in the car. It feels like a joyous memory. It feels like we're just hanging out. We're just going on, our little trips. And this would have just been something about him that, he was like, I don't know if that makes sense for you or if I'm moving on to someone else. Okay, let me see here. I know that he's just sending you with his love, and I do feel that he comes with contemplation, that he comes, oh, you're in the car right now? That's so great, okay. That is so funny, because if you're driving or if you're in the car, he's like backseat driving, okay? That's the message for you. He is just wanting to let you know that he has gone through seeing all of his connections that he had in this life, and he feels very grateful to all the people who love him deeply, and that he is completely in a light place, in a heavenly place, and he has plenty of time for contemplation. So there is this message of, it's not his words exactly, but the essence of his spirit is communicating that he has grown in spirit, and that you can grow, and we continue to grow even after our passing. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. I'm just sending off his love for you. Okay. So some of you might know that, like, it's the weirdest thing, because I totally forgot this happens, is my nose starts to run when I am reading in like a group setting, which is like not cute at all. And I totally didn't bring tissues, so I just keep wiping my nose with my hand. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. I did feel like, we'll move right into the psychic portion about halfway through, which we are halfway, but I feel like let me just feel here if I can. Yeah, I do feel like, I want to tell the group that your people in spirit are definitely here. I don't feel that I will read another mediumship reading in this message, in this reading right now. I'm getting the sense that it's time to shift over into the psychic portion of the reading. So anyone who is, needing a mediumship reading, if your person didn't come through in spirit, doesn't mean that they're not here or they're not with you. It's all that it really is about the perfect timing for you and them. And it's also about whether or not, it's really about who on the earth plane needs to hear from their person the most. It's also about who the medium is, who the person in spirit feels that they can get their messages through. So there is a medium for everyone, and there is a time and a place for every message to come through. And if you're looking for, connection, sometimes people in spirit too will not. They may have been shy in life. They may think you are a bit shy. There may be really personal things that they want to get through. And so they're not going to come through in a group setting. Okay, so there's a million different reasons. I don't know all of them. I don't know, basically, I would say, I probably don't know any of the reasons of who comes and why, because the effect of each reading is just so divine, and brings so much healing that we could never really measure it. But I have a good sense that when we all do pass into spirit world, we will see a little bit more about who we really are, how connected we really are, and what really transpires when we are connecting with other people in spirit who are not in their body. Because the more I do readings, the longer I do them, the more I realize that I am talking and you're talking to or messaging back. But a lot of what's happening is that person or your angel or your guide or your own soul is able to receive a lot directly from spirit at that time, because you've kind of given the welcome and you opened up. And so we're having this experience here on earth where we think all the messages is what's happening. In reality, your guides or your person in spirit or your soul is like opening up, creating growth, creating healing in your spirit. So I don't know what really is going on. I only say what comes to me, but I don't know the full capacity. I don't know the full picture of what really happens when we do this. And of course, I don't even know how it really works. So, that's the other funny part about readings, psychic ability and everything like that. So anyway, I do feel like I'm going to just go ahead and give a general 2021 reading, psychic, and then I will maybe move into personal readings a little bit. And when the personal psychic readings happen, those are also spirit directing me. Who in the group really is going through something that we can all learn from and that we all resonate with. So really it's like you're just like the spokesperson, and most of us can receive some part of your message and some part of your reading. Okay. So I do have to say that we have a very intuitive group here. And your intuition and your own gifts is part of what brings you to a reading like this. It's like, can I do that? Can I connect with spirit? And so I just want to give you like a big affirmation that you are opening up. You are, and some of you have been doing this for a while. And so I just want to say, like, what is this? Because I know that there's people here who read tarot, and there's people who are reading, studying, and trying to open up their psychic ability, not just intuition. Thank you so much, Christine. I'm so happy you found me too. And I really believe that spirit puts us in each other's path because, you know, I only have like a couple people who subscribe to this channel. So it's like, I always am like, this is a miracle that you found me too, because I'm not really, you know, out there, and I'm not really doing too many of these readings, as you guys know. Okay. I do want to say that most of the group too is getting this message of living through this grief and having this dark wound or dark night of the soul period. Let me just take a sip of water, which I also know is part of it. I am looking for spirituality. I'm looking for renewal. I'm looking for some of the lightness to come in. I do want to say that for some of us, it is time to let go even deeper into the grief. It's time to accept more love into your life. In some ways, there is a sense that I feel guilty if I move on. I feel guilty if I live my life. And I just want to say, for those of you who that resonates with, that it's time to give that up to spirit and release that up, because I feel that you've been trying to do a lot on your own as far as self-help myself. And just see, there's a huge message from spirit that you have to rely on others' help, and you have to rely on other people loving you, and you have to rely on other people. And it feels much like friends and close family members, sisters, brothers, people my age, my peers, who I'm not relying on. I'm not telling them as much about my grief or the loss or the wounds. And I do feel that I can rely on the people around me more emotionally. Okay, so that's something big for 2021. So let me just feel a little bit into this year. Really, as I'm moving into January, is such a restorative time. People are really taking a break from the news. They're taking a break from the dark that they had experienced in 2020. And everyone really had different darknesses and levels. I know a lot of people lost a lot of loved ones this year, experienced their own illness. But for most of us in this group, it feels like I'm witnessing so much grief. I'm witnessing so much loss. And in January, I finally can take time to restore myself, take time for my own contemplation, and realize that I need to recharge And what I'm getting for you is a lot of regeneration that's happening in January. There's a lot of receiving that's happening in January, but it's not the kind that I'm wanting, in the sense of I am looking for very concrete answers and very concrete ways of making money or creating my work. That's not exactly going to be like the clearest thing for a little while. But this year, it is around trying to find those answers for ourselves, okay? So just because there's not clarity around it yet, it's just about the timing of that. A lot of you are going to be surprised. I know I said that before, and I'm laughing because it's like big changes that are very obvious to you, yourself, your family. And I even feel like changing my style, changing the way I look. There's so many funny things that are coming up that it's just like Spirit is trying to say, like, be free. And you've noticed where you used to be maybe too afraid to do things. Like, I mean, this is silly, but this is what's coming up, and it's totally symbolic. Like, you may have been afraid to dye your hair, or do something a little bit more flamboyant, a little bit more fun, or you're not going to be as inhibited anymore because you're realizing, who am I being small for? You realize, living through the pandemic, that there's really no reason to hide the things that I like and be who I am, okay? So those things are actually going to be what you're receiving, is the confidence this year that I want to say in 2019, you wouldn't have done that. And also, you're going to be surprised by the way that your prayers are getting answered this year, because it's not at all going to look like the way that is a rational or way. It's not going to look like a way that I would have planned at all. And so it's going to be very much like Spirit always works. It's going to be much better than I could have imagined, but I never would have seen it coming for myself, no matter how intuitive, no matter how psychic I am, you would not have seen it coming. And so what this does, it's just like, it's our souls, it's God's way of reinvigorating us with life. When there's surprises, it brings joy, because these are good surprises, versus in 2020, how it felt like lots of the surprises were extremely challenging. That will continue for years to come. Okay, so we're not out of those outside challenges, but I have changed now, and I'm seeing more my personal life. The challenge, the surprises are replacing that challenging, heavy feeling on the outside. I'm learning how to cope more with that by finding joyous surprise in my life. So you need to know that Spirit is not leaving you behind, has not forgotten you, and there will be lots of joyful moments, times, celebrations, receiving to happen for this group of people here. Just in general, that's a big general statement for 2021. People have reassessed their lives, and so they're finding more of what makes them happy and having less tolerance for the things that does not make them happy. So when there's so many people doing that all at once, no matter how difficult it is with a virus or the financial crash, when people are finding their joy, no matter what, all at once, or sticking to what they love and only sticking to the light sides of what they want to be, who they are, what they're doing, we're still being lifted. And so there's that great paradox living through this time. There's always a great paradox on Earth, but as everyone can tell, it's so much more heightened from 2020, and that will continue in 2021. So you will see the intensity from, the two sides, right? You will see 2021, for sure, there is a big financial crash coming. There's been this irony of when we say that the crash, most Americans, most people in the world have felt finances already dwindling, right? Going down. We're not having enough, that we're not making as much as we were before, okay? In the year past or the 2 years. Then what we saw is the stock market, right, is continuing to be just fine and it's not crashing. This doesn't make any real sense. Eventually, as we move into 2021, it won't continue to just keep going as usual. We will see that kind of what they would call a depression, a Great Depression. And for me, I just want to use that term only because that's what it was called and there's no other term for it. But for us to say depression puts such heaviness around the future that it's not really necessary in that way. But to know that this is coming, and it's taking so much longer than you might have expected, considering that there's so much shutdown. I do feel that this empowers you. It empowers your decision making, because why would I do anything that I don't love when that's all that matters? Why would I be with someone, do something that is not resonating with my spirit when, there's nothing to lose? I'm not saying that you're all going to experience financial hardship, but that the world is experiencing that the most majority of people around us are going to be in a time where it's a difficult time financially for them, and we will be relying on each other, on our communities, our families, more than we ever would have imagined in the past. But the light side is that it's bringing people together. It's bringing people to realize what's actually important to them, okay? There is a huge shift in politics. I do feel like politically people had felt like they were in this group and what they were in that group, and it's hard for people to see, like, is there a way out of this divisiveness? But the way that I feel into it truly is that there is an expansion where people are just tired of feeling like divisive. There's only two ways to look at things. Please, we are all so interesting, dynamic, beautiful spirit that there is never just two ways to look at things, okay? And although that there is an ultimate truth, universal truth, there's billions of different perspectives. And so as we move through 2021 and for the next decade to 2030, so this is like a big time that I'm reading into, is there's expansion here. There's expansion in the US. There's many different groups that are organizing and are being created here. There's not just going to be two political groups, and there's going to be much more respect between the parties. And I don't just mean political, what you might see from political leaders, but what you see with neighbors, okay? Because right now, it's pretty divisive, but I don't see that continuing. I do see a heart opening and expansion, because we will be needing to rely on our neighbors with a crash. The things that we've been dealing with are not slowing down. So the natural disasters are not slowing down. The crash is not slowing down. So we are going to be expanding our heart space to what really matters, who really matters, and what I'm going to spend my energy caring about. And there's really not as much room for petty fights. And that goes for our families as well. Okay, so we just see here too, because I don't feel that I need to get into specifics of, like, you know, what are the disasters that are going to happen in the world and this and that. It is the same trend that is continuing from what we have seen for the past few years. So we've seen hurricanes, we've seen the fires, we've seen earthquakes. Those are just, this is part of our lives for as I feel in for the next decade. So this is something that is continuing, and it needs quite a bit of light to be shown on it, because we can have quite an influence over how bad or good things turn out to be for humanity and for the earth. And as I feel into it, I have to say it's up in the air, it's undecided. We are being called to ask for miracles. It is not set in stone. If we don't change what we're doing, and I mean this globally, I don't mean just like you personally, if we can't find ways of connecting countries and finding solutions for our global problems, that includes the environment, that includes the health of humanity, that includes hunger and everything that we're facing, if we can't find connections between the countries, the ones who stay away from connecting with other countries are going to be hit much harder with these issues. We actually, just the way the states in America need to actually work together to keep unity, right? With so many different people and so many different opinions. Keep unity, keep some kind of structure to our lives, as we've seen with the pandemic. If states band together, there's a better chance that things are looking clearer for those people. If they don't, things fall harder on the individual. And that's what we're learning through experience. We're learning that through living and through this next decade. So as much as I wanted it to be about 2021, this is really like a 10-year period that we're going through here. I just want to feel a little bit into, you know, are we going to be able to get together? When is that happening? I have, surprisingly enough, not asked Spirit so much about those specifics. And so when I know that I'm going to do a reading, I like to get it right in the moment. So I feel like it's a very slow progression. Let me just see here. There continues to be loss of life. There continues to be this disease throughout 2021, that this virus that is, it's still there. It's still there. Of course, Spirit is coming with the message of this is opening up people's desire to connect to Source, to who they really are. And so Spirit is telling you to keep your eye on the light and the positive as much as you can, because this for the next year, we will have to continue to live with this virus going around. And I know that there's help coming. I just want to feel like the thing with it, and I don't want to get too, again, political or anything like that, because it's really not. And I totally want to say that, you know, I'm not a doctor and all of that stuff. So this is for guidance, entertainment purposes, as they say. But the thing is with this vaccine, unfortunately, it's not the cure-all that we wish it was. That doesn't mean that people shouldn't get it. Doesn't mean that it's bad for you, but it doesn't disappear the virus in 2021. It's slow, okay? There's resources that we're realizing are limited, and we're not organized enough to make sure that people are all getting this vaccine, or that it's even as powerful as what the flu vaccine is, which, as we know, does not always stop you from getting the flu. I just get this sense from Spirit to not lose hope, because you have to hang in there another year at least. So by March of 2022, okay, we'll finally start to feel like I don't have to wear my mask all the time. But that's another year, okay, of really living this kind of way. By the time we get there, we have changed so much. And I just want to say that there is a strength that comes through for everyone in 2021 that we just didn't have in 2019, personally and community-wise. There are a lot of things that you're dealing with that you would have said I could have never dealt with. I feel like a lot of the burden of those things that we have to face is lifting in 2021. It's not that they're going away, but it's I've changed. I got stronger. I was like lifting weights, and now I'm strong in 2021. Whereas I think there is a fear that we may fall into a depression of our own. What I'm getting for this group, and for those of you who are watching this video, is that brightness that comes from you, that you just don't even realize how strong you are, how your spirit is so resilient and will actually be able to confront everything that has happened to you. And you're just like, wow, this is unimaginable. But look at me, I'm here, I'm doing okay, I'm happy, I found joy somehow. This is unreal. So you're going to be surprised, okay? So I thought that I would do some personal readings, but I just really wanted to do the 2021 information. Does anyone have any questions about broad questions? So it's not about personal question, but any questions about 2021 before I sign off here? Just see if I have anything else to say. So if you have any questions about, so it would be, you know, something that is a universal kind of a question about 2021 that maybe we could fill in for the group. And if not, I just want to make sure I covered everything. Oh, the conjunction. Yeah. So Felix asked, do you think the conjunction has anything to do with this change? I mean, wow, how wild is that? So in my feelings that astrology, so you had the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn on the 21st, right? And so some people said that hadn't happened for 400 years, some people said 800 years, whatever. It hadn't happened for a long time, and we have joyous Jupiter and teacher Saturn. And Jupiter is the bringer of miracles, and Saturn is like your strict teacher. And wow, so it's the perfect, let's say, it's a perfect visual, and it's a perfect thing for us to move into 2021, remembering that you will experience all of the light, miracles, and your learning. We're here to learn our lessons, and that doesn't come without the challenges of life. So this will continue to be challenging for us. It will continue. However, we're not being forgotten. We are experiencing miracles. There are things that can happen through no work of our own. I feel that that's a miracle that lightens us. So yeah, I do feel like the conjunction is a big part of it. I feel like right now we're experiencing the aftermath of Cancer full moon, and so everything that we need to just like let go of to spirit, especially from my heart space, my emotions, any kind of sadness that I experienced this year, I am working it out, and it will be lifting in the next 2 weeks. So it is beautiful energy moving into January that we really need, that renewal, that kind of a thing. So Holly asked if we'll have blackouts in war. So the blackouts, it's funny, I can say for sure that we will have blackouts. I don't know if you mean just energy-wise, but I live in a place where we lose power a lot. So yeah, we're going to have some of those. So we need to prepare for that. As I fill into that, and if that is what you mean, like, it's not any more than usual, that kind of a thing, unless there is a type of a hurricane that comes through your area. Let me just feel. I'm not picking up any more of the, what could happen natural disaster wise. It's, it's just not something that I'm getting specifics on or anything like that. But just that what they come with is the messages of community and how much we're going to need to be relying on our neighbors so much more than we ever have in the past. And so it, again, whereas we have to distance physically, we actually relying on them emotionally, we're relying on each other for the basic necessities. Okay. Just want to see one other thing. Yeah, I do feel that there is, U.S. is trying, or U.S. may begin another type of a war. This is going to be very unpopular, and I just want to say that nothing is for sure. It does feel like U.S. is government. I don't want to, go too into it because I don't want to talk about anything that will get me in trouble, publicly or anything like that, because, and I don't want to evoke any fear, okay? But I just want to say that this would be extremely unpopular. And there will continue to be social uprising and social resistance to anything like that. And so I just want to say again, 2021 has people really coming into their own power. So you're doing it on your personal level, and people are doing it on a social level, okay? I do think it's smart we have lived through this pandemic, and I would always just encourage people to have a little extra food at their house. It's never going to hurt you. Don't do it out of fear. Just do the same way that we take care of our house, we take care of our health. We are changing the way that we live. We want to make sure that we have extra food at home, that kind of a thing. Do it that way. Everything matters the way that we intend, really has an influence on the way that things work out. So if you're afraid and you're frantically buying food and things like that, that doesn't feel good, and it doesn't feed your soul. It doesn't feed the family. It doesn't make your house feel safe. But when you're just, preparing not for a disaster, but for the way that you take care of your own health, right? So I take care of my health so that I don't, get sick, or I don't eat a lot of whatever, so I don't have heart disease. And you can't control everything that happens to you, but you can try to take care of yourself, and having extra food supply is one way to keep your health, keep your mental health, keep your physical health. So we're the same here. We do that a little bit. And I do feel that I'm wrapping up because I just don't have the kind of energy to do the long readings that I used to. So let me just say thank you so much for coming. And thank you to everyone who, I'm just sending you all the blessings that's coming through for you. And thank you to everyone who got a reading, just sending your loved ones wishes and love to you. What else? And just bringing through joy for 2021. Is going to be so wonderful for you to experience. There is going to be quite an abundance of laughter and joy, so focus on those things if you can. Sending all my love. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful new year. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you. Sending lots of blessings, guys. Okay. Hope to see you soon. Mwah. Bye. Thank you. Bye, everyone.